Well, it's the weekend edition of the show. Absolutely. It's been a great week with you and all of us right here on the Morning Brief. Thank you so much for joining us on what Bukola calls this early alarm, alternative alarm. I'm Jeffrey. So thank you for joining us.
See, I'm already being quoted. I'm becoming a
newsmaker.
Albatross Einstein.
I'll need your autograph after this. Please sign your autograph.
This is my pen.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. It's a fun-filled and insightful Friday. Thank you for staying with us so far, and welcome to the program. I am Bukola Koka.
Friday, TGIF, all of that. It is January the 12th, 2024. We're live from Lagos. I'm Kayode. Welcome.
And it's going to be an absolute journey. There's a lot to talk about. And of course, Kayode did ask a question yesterday. I don't know whether I have answers to those questions. You can actually start tweeting or Xing at us on that particular question because it's an extended question. When should we be removing our Christmas trees? He asked that the other day. So I'm going to be rehashing some of those questions because let's not create new questions. Let's see how you respond to some of the old questions. What was the other question you asked again?
Why does January always seem longer than 31 days?
And
looks like
then
officially.
he asked another one. When should we stop saying Happy New Year?
Okay.
Oh, yes, that one also featured.
And of course, next week you're going to give us more questions as we continue.
What am I, examiner?
So it's going to be a
like
fun-filled, absolutely delightful show. So you can see how we look on Fridays. It just shows you that, hey, something is up our sleeve. What exactly is up our sleeve? We will find out on the show. The only way to find out is to stay here, or the way we used to say it on radio, stick around right here on Channels Television, the Morning Brief. So let's get to it. The things we should be expecting on the show today. Now, exactly about 9 governors will be waiting to find out whether or not they will have jobs as state chief executives at the end of today, because in just hours, the Supreme Court will be making a pronouncement. Now, will there be an upset at the Supreme Court? And how will the electorate react to all of the outcomes that will be coming out from the Supreme Court today? Well, we'll be joined by a learned mind who will make sense of the situation from right here in the studio and around the country.
Now it's 24 hours to the Africa Cup of Nations. We've been counting down with a lot of excitement. We've been building up to it with our discussion here. And just yesterday, we had our guest, ex-international Mutiu Adepoju, who is also throwing his weight behind the Eagles. So from months, we're counting down to hours. So the Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria will square up against Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and host Cote d'Ivoire. Is it too much to expect the team to top our group? And what stars should the continent be looking out for? Our sports anchor joins us this morning to dissect it and align our expectations. So it's been more than 10 years since the Super Eagles lifted the trophy. Will they be doing it again? That's our prayer, and that's why we're offering our support. And we're walking the talk as well.
And we're saying no pressure.
No pressure. And you know, you can't do much with an empty stomach. So this morning on the show as well, we talk how to dine on a budget. Yes, we know inflation and all that is eating at our disposable income, but man must survive, as they say. Man must work.
Yep.
You know what they say, right?
We gotta whack.
So how can you dine on the budget? All those budget-friendly recipes, we'll look at them this morning. Plus, how much attention have you been paying to your cardiovascular health and diet that can aid your cardio fitness? Well, not to worry, our fitness instructor joins us to walk the talk yet again. And don't forget, Jeff.
And don't even forget this particular one. We'll be tracking your thoughts on X and on WhatsApp to ensure that you ventilate it right here on the show as much as possible. That's the fun part of the show for me, when we get to hear from you, because the show is all about you. So send in your thought, just hashtag CTV Morning Brief to have your say. That's the WhatsApp number.
Yes,
so send your messages, send your thoughts, send everything you can send. We'll be here to read them out to the rest of the world. So let's get talking and have loads of fun this morning. Kayode would say, what a better way to start your morning?
You tell me, what a better way to start your morning?
Than to join us on CTV Morning Brief. And Kayode, you asked earlier, what would you be doing to dine on a budget? So perhaps you could start with your own answer, first of all, this morning.
When did I feel that Bukola would be back?
So what I try to do is, well, yeah, of course, we know that over 50% of the average Nigerian salary is spent on food, right? So after you've taken out transport, accommodation, and the rest, we know we focus a lot on food. So essentially, what I try to do is, I don't eat a lot. good for me. And you can see how big I am, right? So essentially, I focus on what's important: the fruits, the vegetable, the water. My wife is an evangelist for drinking water. So I try to focus on eating little things. So I don't try to consume big morsels anyway, because they will weigh me down. So just little things. That's essentially what I do.
I just knew you were not going to answer the question correctly. Jeff, over to you. I'd like to know.
Dining on a budget, is relative. Some people dining on a budget could be a meal that is worth 50,000, another could be a meal that is worth 10,000, another meal could be a meal that is worth 300 naira. But what I try to do is just to take as much fruit as possible, just to, keep myself healthy and young and as much as possible. Well, I don't know. We don't have so much time right now.
Well, maybe I got carried this question wrong, because that's not the way I would have answered it. Dining on a budget means it speaks to immediacy. A meal that you're planning for, and one of my favorite meals would be any kind of draw soup. Either it's ogbono.
What kind of dining on a budget involves cooking?
Jeffrey, relax now. Ogbono or okra or ewedu. So when you buy that in small portions, because they're perishables, make sure you buy your protein in bulk, depending on your budget. If you're a size 38, don't go on a size 41. So cut your coat according to your cloth.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then you go and prepare and store in the freezer, so that you can prepare subsequently or warm subsequently in your microwave.
Or simply just do fruity. But there's a lot more. This conversation has just started.
Very simple.
There's a lot more.
To you.
I'm the one in the kitchen, guys.
No problem.
You're the ones that are served. No, you're not in the kitchen.
I am in the kitchen. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, this argument continues right here. But we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you our top story. Stay with us. Top on the brief. Another weekend is upon us here in Lagos, but things may even be busy at the apex court in the nation's capital, Abuja, where in just hours, about 9 verdicts will be in. Governors of Lagos, Kano, Plateau, Bauchi, Ebonyi, Abia, Nasarawa, Zamfara, and Cross River State will find out where the pendulum swings as the justices will give judgment over appeals challenging their victory at the 2023 governorship elections. Now, petitions ranging from validity of nomination, non-compliance with electoral laws, to poll results cancellation will be determined by the Supreme Court today. While some governors are seeking affirmation to the judgment of the lower courts, well, others are asking the Supreme Court to overturn the decision of the Court of Appeal. Now, our reporters are inside and outside the courtroom to capture every piece of the action. Others are stationed at suspected security pressure points to give us a pulse of the city centers as the event unfolds throughout the day. While Kano State is already being proactive, the Commissioner of Police is warning against any unlawful act. Now, but it's a different feeling for their colleague, Governor Umoino of Akwa Ibom State, who is already a victor at the Supreme Court. The court has affirmed his election as the validly elected governor of Akwa Ibom State under the platform of the People's Democratic Party. The apex court dismissed the appeals of the 3 parties challenging the outcome of the election that held in March last year. This comes after a panel led by Justice Owani Abaji dismissed 3 separate appeals of the All Progressives Congress, Young Progressives Party, and the Action Alliance of allegations of non-qualification of the governor following alleged WAEC certificate forgery, which he denies. The Supreme Court therefore upheld the November 2023 ruling of the Court of Appeal, which dismissed the forgery case against the governor.
What the Supreme Court has done has been to confirm that Pastor Umoino is not only the governor of Akwa Ibom State, but that he has genuine certificates. I think that's the more important thing, because that matter had already been decided in another Supreme Court case.
Now, the governor has also reacted to that judgment. Excited governor. Let's take a listen to him.
Well, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of who God is and what God can do. So return all glory to God, the beginning and the ending of all matters. And we're collective. We're in ESCO meeting, and the rapturous joy that came, and we thank God. We thank the judiciary, who have shown again that they are the last hope of the common man.
Now, staying with the judiciary, the former Minister of Power and Steel, Mr. Oluwagunloye, has been granted bail in the sum of 50 million naira by Justice Jude Nwegbueze of the FCT High Court. Mr. Agunloye was arraigned on 7-count charge bordering on fraudulent award of a contract and official corruption preferred against him by the EFCC, who is investigating him over the 6 billion naira Mambila hydropower contract. The judge had ordered him to be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center pending hearing and ruling of the appeal application. However, counsel to the former minister, Mr. Adiola Dedipe, had, among other things, prayed the court to grant bail to his clients in liberal terms, arguing that Mr. Agunloye is not a flight risk, but that it was opposed. But that was actually opposed by the prosecution counsel. After listening to both counsels, the justice granted a 50 million naira bail to the defendant and ordered him to produce 2 reputable sureties in the like some who are resident in the FCT, amongst other conditions, and adjourned the matter to February the 12th. Now, let's move on to other stories. With Rivers State politics, blinking may be a luxury the power brokers and watchers can't afford. Perhaps is why Governor Siminalayi Fubara met with President Bola Tinubu at the villa on Thursday. Mr. Fubara, who arrived at the presidential villa at about 5:40 p.m., went straight to the office of the president, where they met behind closed doors. Although the reason for the meeting is unknown, it may not be unconnected with the recent political feud between him and the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike. And this is the first time the governor is visiting the president at the villa since signing that 8-point controversial resolution brokered by President Bola Tinubu. Let's move on now. Nigeria has sadly suffered more losses in human lives after a fresh attack by a suspected bandit has left 10 persons dead and several others wounded in Kuka Babangida village in Jibia local government area of Katsina State. Among those killed were the Kuka Babangida village head. His name, Mr. Zoron Katsina, along with his 4 children. Resident told Channels Television on phone that the bandits invaded the village in the early hours of Thursday at about 1:30 a.m. when most of the residents were quite asleep. And that's a very, very sad development. But we'll continue to follow the story to get the official statement of the police. Others now. Now, if you are here to make money, resign. That's the no-holds-barred charge by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, to the newly appointed heads of the agencies in the ministry during their official induction ceremony in Abuja. Mr. Keyamo believes the chief executives and directors should carry out their responsibilities optimally, as outlined in the ministry's key performance indicators. Some of the KPIs include to ensure strict compliance with safety regulations, to support the growth of local airlines and operators, and human capital development within the aviation industry.
The uniqueness of the aviation ministry is that, unlike most other ministries, most of the work of the aviation ministry is in its agencies, not on the main ministry. I'll be very critical of those who even think that they know me, who are close to me. I will not tolerate non-performance. If you think your aim is to make money in public office, resign today here before you leave here. Give me your resignation letter.
Straight talk. Resign or serve. That's as simple as it is. Now, in about 3 days, the nation's Bureau of Statistics will release the December inflation numbers, but we are already seeing projections. The latest is coming from the economic advisory firm, Financial Derivatives Company, who are projecting a 0.5% increase to 28.7% for December headline inflation against 28.2% in November 2023. Although it will mark a new record high amid the impact of the falling value of the naira and the rising cost of living, the Economist Intelligence Unit, however, forecast that the country's inflation may fall down to as much as 23.6% in 2024 and even lesser in 2025. They pegged it as 17%. Now, outside our shores, while hostilities continue on the Gaza Strip between Israel and Hamas, South Africa is making a case for the Palestinians at the UN's top court, alleging that Israel's plan to destroy Gaza comes from the highest level of state. Those were the words, as argued by South African lawyers when it presented its case accusing Israel of genocide at the International Court of Justice. South Africa also called on the court to order Israel to cease military operations in Gaza, but Israel, which will present its defense today, has vehemently rejected the accusation. They call it baseless accusation. The court will deliver only an opinion on the genocide allegation, although it is being closely watched by the UN. to the exciting world of sports. We're counting down. It's just about 24 hours. But after 40 years of waiting and over $1.5 million in investment, well, Abidjan is getting ready for the exciting tournament that will shake the entire continent as everybody heads to that city. You can see along the street, vendors are donned football shirts and fans blow vuvuzelas, while lively chants rising in the streets of Abidjan. 24 teams will play for pride and prize from Saturday compared to just 8 in 1984. So that's the outlook of our top stories for today. And there's a lot coming up from the Supreme Court. That's where our attention is. And we'll discuss this just after the break. Join us again. Well, absolutely. We're right back right on the morning brief. And there's a lot you're saying on the social media. Our responsibility is quite simple, guys. Just to tell the world what everybody is saying on the social media. So, Kayode, maybe I'll start with you. What are they saying?
Quite a number of things, really. And I think one of the biggest trends now is still no grief for anybody. 12 days into the year, that expression is still trending. But the twist is quite interesting. So let's take a look at this first post on X by Afolabi Oladayo. And the backstory is the police talked about no grief for anybody, asking people, well, don't follow that, okay, in terms of crime and all. You have to agree. Don't be stubborn. Then we had the Defense HQ, the Nigerian Army, talking about how they will not grieve for terrorists and the rest. But take a look at Afolabi Oladayo saying we need more synergy between our security forces, HQ Nigerian Army, no grief for terror, police NG, no grief, a way for revolution and chaos. Okay, but does this really mean there's no synergy? But hey, that's what Afolabi Oladayo says.
Well, it's interesting to see how the bug has caught on even into the defense and the Nigeria police force, albeit in different ways. On the one hand, well, no grief for crime, and on the other hand, no grief for terror. However, no grief for anybody who infringe on your fundamental human rights. Right? Okay, so let's go to this next one, which is from Queen B. And she says, no grief for anybody will unfortunately be the reason why some people, destitute of wisdom in its application, will end up in hospital, prison.
Bukola, that's not Queen B's post. This is Queen B's post.
Oh, that's Queen B's post. Okay, why?
No, you're not grieving for the post. You're not grieving
for the post itself. Okay, Queen B is just 2 sentences, as the case may be. Why you Nigerians now obey? Who you Nigerians now obey? The police or the army?
All right, so let's go to Bukola's Queen B. Oh no, let's go to Bukola's Mayoko or Leadercraft. That's the one she read. So let me just, for the purpose of ensuring that this guy or this lady has a thought out, no grief for anybody will unfortunately be the reason why some people, destitute of wisdom in its application, will end up in the hospital, prison, indebtedness and all sorts. Be wise, no grief for Satan to truncate your destiny.
So, well, all of that is trending, guys. Depression is also trending. That very sad story about the death of a young lady by suicide. And it's raised the issues of depression. So a lot of people are talking about it. Ajinwa says, if you have ever experienced a drop of depression and anxiety, I don't think you will ever mock people who take their life. Everyone has a threshold of pain and how much they can take. You are not tough, you just haven't reached yours. Says, don't test the devil. If you're experiencing challenges, speak to someone. There are lots of counselors that can help with depression.
Well, very, very strong words there from Ajinwa. This one is from Ray Cypher. He says, a lot of young people are battling with depression, low key, and it's not even about relationships. They just want to survive. God heal whoever is hurting. Amen to that. Depression is real.
Well, it's real. That's why we had the experts come the other day to explain. And we may have to be doing that as much as possible to ensure that people understand the signs and the symptoms and all of that and know when to call for help and seek support for such situation, because stress will hit you. Lagos stress will hit you, Nigerian stress will hit you, really anywhere you cannot escape some of those challenges, but everybody has a coping mechanism. So let's find out what Invex is saying. Say depression is sleeping through the day in a dark room. Depression is ignoring calls and texts from family friends. Depression is feeling lonely but not wanting company. Depression is a disease. It's called the silent killer for a reason. If you're still here today, I love you. Wow.
Very, very.
That's quite touching. That's quite touching. Absolutely.
There's more on depression, and it's good that a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
You see, inner practitioner. Oh, by the way, you saw that one by Ray Cypher earlier.
Yeah.
But inner practitioner talks about people assume your soft heart and gentleness must have come from an easy life. They don't know you've gone through all kinds of pain, anxiety, insecurity, self-abandonment, and the rest. But the charge here is that everyone should stay strong. Guys?
Well, you know, at the risk of sounding like a counselor, one thing everyone must remember is that nothing has happened that hasn't happened before. No one is experiencing what hasn't been experienced before. So it's very, very important to talk to someone, particularly when you know that you're beginning to slide down, deep down the depression pit. Know that, there's nothing absolutely nothing new under the sun, and you can talk to someone and you realize that that burden will be lifted, maybe by half, and somewhere along the line the problem will be solved. Well, this one is from Lillian Onyinyechi, and she says depression is too real. You see people and you think they're living their best lives, but behind closed doors they're suffering and fighting every day. And that's why every day I pray for strength to get through every day.
Absolutely. So while that is, of course, ongoing, as we said, speak to somebody, would like to show you a video that has now gone viral. It's said to have happened on the Third Mainland Bridge. So take a look at this video. Very shocking sights. So they see some men actually doing what they call obeisance or what have you, and you can see some animals on the floor. And it is said to be some sort of common practice when roads are about to be constructed or when major projects are to be done. And this got a lot of people talking, what is going on? I know there's always that conversation around traditional, religions, traditionalists, and the rest. But this definitely has caught the attention. A lot of people asking, is this really how things are done when it comes to road construction and the rest? Hey, let us know what you think.
We hear a lot of things when it comes to these things. We've heard a couple of people say when you build some level of infrastructure, especially across water, across forest, and all of that, whether it's true or not, we're yet to know. But this is a pointer to whether or not it happens. They say a lot of people die. When people die, they don't see it as part of the hazard of the job. They see it as maybe the spirits in the water or in the forest taking lives and all of that. But hey, we just get to look at some of these things holistically to know exactly whether they are true or not. Depending on who you're speaking to, some say it's just religion, it's just speculation, it's just, there's another word I'm looking for, but I can't really remember the word now. So it's just all of this. Some say, look, it's just work hazard and all of that. This was unnecessary. So they begin to compare notes. So does it mean if you're building in America, we also have lives being sacrificed? How come when it comes to Africa, these things will happen? So maybe we need to do our research to find out whether when bridges are built across maybe China, because I've seen some infrastructure in China, or like, what in the world is this? How did they even build this?
It will surprise you.
So how many lives were lost in building those level of infrastructure?
For the animals that are used as
it's a very interesting conversation, and we dwelt pretty much on it yesterday, and we talked about the different dimensions to it. But let me bring in an interesting angle to it.
Hit us.
Yes, tell us.
I'm looking forward to this.
My mom always says that Africans are actually very, very powerful in terms of science and in terms of religion, and that our witchcraft is very potent, more potent than that of the Caucasians, but that we haven't deployed it to technological advancement for our own benefit, like our counterparts in the West have done. And this videos like this, events like this, pretty much put paid to that opinion even though it's an opinion.
So what do we call it? African science?
The African science. This speaks to the potency, maybe not efficacy, because we have different religious beliefs of African traditional religion. And if you have conversations with the older people who have witnessed infrastructure development in Nigeria over the years, they say that company that has had the benefit of developing much of Nigeria's infrastructure had to do this many times over the years, had to pay obeisance to the spirits. Interesting.
Absolutely. So let's know what you think. Hashtag CTV Morning Brief. And don't forget, you can also send us messages and videos on WhatsApp. We have our WhatsApp number now for you. We're just available.
We're available. We're not unavailable. We're available. Okay, so absolutely. So there's a lot to talk about. We did tell you some of the highlights of the show today. We said 9 governors will know whether they will be governors at the end of the day today. Will there be an upset at the Supreme Court or not? We told you our reporters, our correspondents are also standing by across the country to ensure that we get a feel of what is going on at the Supreme Court as well as other places. So we will get to this just in a moment. Join us again.
We have enjoyed a lot of good working relationship with the members of the public. Each time they see something strange, they normally report to us, and we act accordingly. And that is the pitch that keeps us to this level. So today, we are assuring members of the public that nothing will change tomorrow. We have the strength to handle any situation arising from people who want to take the security of the state at stake. Our priority is to ensure that the safety of individuals are guaranteed. We have consulted with the government. In various fora, His Excellency has made several statements that no cause of Allah, if you should abide by the outcome of the decision of the court. And those opposition too have also made their mind that as a party, they will not support anybody taking law into his hands or breaking the existing laws or going into rampage or any kind of distraction. So I think what the situation we are likely to handle tomorrow is just to deal with individual miscreant hoodlums who want to take advantage and loot. And we are not going to take it easy with such a person.
All right, welcome back right here on the Morning Brief. And we did say before we went on that break, guys, there's a lot that will be happening at the Supreme Court. Initially, we heard that 6 cases will be decided today. And we understand those cases have been increased to about 9. Maybe, we don't know, it may increase to more or less. But as at the last count, it was 6. We now understand it's about 9. So a couple of these states will know their fate today, including Lagos, Kano, Nasarawa, Ebonyi, and all of these states. So, well, we are being joined on the program via Zoom by a legal practitioner, an INEC election observer, and national coordinator of the Advocate for People's Rights and Justice, Mr. Victor Giwa. Mr. Giwa, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm happy to be here to you.
Okay, while the entire continent is looking in the direction of Abidjan for the AFCON, Nigeria is looking in the direction of the Supreme Court as well as an additional highlight of the day. 9 cases, or 6 to 9 cases, we understand, will be decided today. If you can give us an overview of some of these issues and how they ended up at the Apex Court, the ones you can quickly remember.
Well, thank you so much again. Firstly, most of the cases that we decided today are cases that emanated from the State Election Tribunal, that is the Governorship Election Tribunal from the various states. Election was conducted on the 18th of March 2023 in about 28 states of the Federation, and 22 of those states have been decided by the election tribunal. So governorship election was conducted. Governorship election were conducted in 28 states of the Federation in March 2023. And as of today, 22 of those states have been decided by the various elections of tribunal, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. Amongst the 22, 13 was in favor of APC, 8 were in favor of the PDP, and 1 was in favor of the Labour Party, that is Abia State. Now, talking about how these previous election cases got to the Supreme Court, I want to start from Lagos. Now, that of Lagos, Governor Sanwo-Olu started the contest by PDP and the Labour Party. That of PDP, the gubernatorial candidate for PDP, was Olani Adesonya, who is popularly known as Jando. He has challenged. He came third in the election. And he challenged the emergence of the declaration of Sanwo-Olu as the elected governor of the state. Also, was the position of the Labour Party, that is the Labour votes Bible of the Labour Party, also challenged the election of Sanwo-Olu. Now, let me start from that of the PDP candidate. Now, he challenged the re-election of Governor Sanwo-Olu on the ground that, one, that Sanwo-Olu was not validly nominated as a candidate of his party. 2, he also said that Sanwo-Olu presented a forged certificate. Thirdly, he also said that the election that produced Sanwo-Olu was marred with irregularities and non-compliance with the Electoral Act and some other grounds. And so, on the 25th of September 2023, the tribunal led by Justice Agun Alo delivered judgment for that of the Labour Party, and Justice Abdullahi gave the lead judgment in the case of the PDP. That in the PDP, the case was dismissed on the ground that there was lack of evidence. As a matter of fact, in the case of Jando, which is the Olajide Adeniyi, what the tribunal justices or the lead judge said was that it was dead on arrival and it has to be burial. Of course, the major context was the fact that, one, they felt that they challenged the ground that someone who, like I said before, was not validly nominated by his political party. And what was the issue? They said that from the nomination of the candidacy of Sanwo-Olu and his running mate, Hamzat Obafemi, that the primary that led to the emergence of Governor Sanwo-Olu took place on the 26th of May 2022, and that primary was in conflict of section 84 BI of the Electoral Act.
Okay, Mr. Kiwa, if I can just come in now. It's good you're given a background, particularly for Lagos, Olajide Adediran of the PDP, Governor Sanwo-Olu, and the intricacies of that case. But I'd like to draw your attention to the elephant in the room, I call it that, because a lot of people will say for the first time in a long time, we had more young people actually interested in the process, even though the figures at the end of the day from the voting didn't quite show that we had a lot more people voting compared to the number of registered voters. But that's a conversation for another day. But the young people part, both on and off social media, has been a major issue. Now, some of them say they have lost faith in the electoral process. For some people, they say, well, my candidate won, so I can't lose faith. So it's mixed bag. But particularly for the judiciary now, some people also don't have as much trust in the judiciary. And that is something the judiciary, I know, has to contend with, even though the judiciary has said, well, our cases are not decided by, beer parlor conversations or on the streets by emotions and the rest. But I'd like you to speak to the young Nigerian out there who is looking at the Supreme Court and does not have as much trust as a legal practitioner, as a Nigerian, as someone who's monitored and observed elections, as a voter yourself. What would you be telling that young Nigerian as the cases will be decided upon today?
Wow, it's a difficult one, and I must tell you, and I must be frank with you, it's a very difficult one. I observed the various elections, and of course my other observers too. And I was on the air when the issue of presidential elections started, in the studio, and I said that when that of the presidential election, I said, why the trial of Peter Obi and Atiku, why Atiku and Peter Obi are on trial, that at that same point, the judges of the Court of Appeal are in the public trial. Now, why did I say so? It is because Nigerians, the youth, like you particularly said, are losing confidence, especially in the judiciary. And I want to tell the youth today, including the whole of Nigerians, that we should not lose confidence in this system. Yes, there is some major challenge to the judiciary. Yes, there's a problem with our system. Yes, there's a problem with our electoral system. Yes, there's a problem with the electoral empire. But Nigeria is our own. The system is run by Nigerians. Can make it better. There's room for improvement. Let us give the Supreme Court some level of benefit of doubt, some opportunity. But I need to say this, that why, like you said, why election takes place in the polling units, election tribunal matters do not take place in the polling units. Election tribunal matters take place in the courts. The court is not a playground. The court is not a gallery. The court is not a coliseum. The court is not a musical industry. The court is not a cinema hall. The court is a place that is run by evidence. The court is not a place for the jack of all trades. The court is not a place for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Anybody who comes to the court must come with evidence. So Nigerian youth, why they are not happy with the process, why they are losing confidence in the process, they must also know that the product of the tribunal, the product of our court system, may not necessarily be based on the facts on the ground. Right. Because you may have enough facts, but you have not been able to, your lawyer, your counsel would have not been able to have presented properly before the court. And that is why in most cases, the cases we dismiss. The case of Lagos State was dismissed on mostly technical grounds. That is not based on facts, based on law and on knowledge. So the facts might be wrong, but the person who presented the facts might be right, but the person who presented the facts might be doing a very bad job.
Right, and you hit the nail on the head there, Mr. Giwa, and that's the increasing concern about how technicalities are determining the outcome of elections rather than the ballot. Let me take you to another particularly uncomfortable aspect of the conversation, which is Kano State. Kano, not just Kano now, maybe Zamfara and Plateau, because of the, nature of conversation, particularly amongst opposition party. Kano is a decider for major election victories. Now, and we know that political party supporters are deeply invested in the elections of their principals. So what do you project would happen today? And if asked differently, are you worried that it could be a major factor of political instability, particularly if the court rules in favor of the ruling party in those states?
Thank you very much. That's a very sensitive and interesting question. Kano State in particular, I have my special reservation on the judgment of Kano State. And the reason is very obvious. us as a lawyer, then too as somebody who is conversant with the various particulars of election tribunal. Now, the case of Kano is particularly a bit special. It is special that for the first time in the history of Nigerian electoral jurisprudence, a court, an election tribunal, annulled an election, returned the petition on the basis that a ballot papers were not stamped and signed. An action that is exclusively that of INEC. Like a senior lawyer said, you cannot punish voters for the mistake of INEC. I mean, my duty as a voter and as a Nigerian is to go there and cast my vote. But the process of whether I will have to wait, apart from the fact that I have to stand for my biometric and all of that, then after getting the ballot paper, you now expect me to be looking at the back of the ballot paper to know whether or not INEC have stamped the ballot paper and the same PS people, what they call the presiding officers, have signed on those ballot papers. That is not my duty as a voter. My duty as a voter is to be on the queue, cast my vote, and protect my vote and ensure that the vote is counted. But it should not include whether or not the ballot has been stamped and signed. And that was one of the reasons, or the major reason, why the Kano State Election Tribunal nullified the Kano State election. Then in the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal came in with another leg, and they said that the candidate Baba Yusuf of the AN was not even a member of that particular party. So you see, the case of Kano is very peculiar, and I want to pray and believe that the Supreme Court will do justice in this matter. Now, justice in this matter is the fact that people voted. It was not a case of overvoting, and we must understand the peculiarity of the 2022 Electoral Act. There is the case of beavers. So it is firstly whether you have been captured by the beavers, and the total number of persons who voted was captured or were captured in the beavers, and the ballot paper agrees with the number of accredited voters. If that is done, that's the first step to determine the credibility of the process. But in this case, it was not the issue of the beavers. It was the case of, the ballot papers were not stamped and signed. So I believe that the Supreme Court will have the justice of the case and do justice.
All right, Mr. Akiwa, just let's throw this question in before. I want to look at it broadly. If you can answer in about 1 or 2 minutes. If you look at Section 77 of the Electoral Act, which is some of the basis why they are heading to the Supreme Court, which says that political parties will make available its register to INEC 30 days and all of that. And sometimes when you look at the judgments, whether at the lower court, at the tribunal, you expect that politicians, now I'm not being specific with Kano, for instance, I just read that provision just to reference the fact that it's part of what will be determined today. But speaking broadly, whether it's a National Assembly, State Assembly, or governorship election, we have noticed that there are certain things that almost border on ludicrous, because if you are a political party, an aspirant of a political party, and even emerge as a candidate, there are basics of you must know what the Electoral Act says and the guidelines of INEC says, as well as the Constitution says, as well as what your own party constitution says. But sometimes it looks like when you hear these cases in court, you wonder, did they really look at the laws? And at the end of the day, they are kicked out of whatever seat they are sitting on. Does that bother you?
It bothers me and bothers Nigerians. But let me say this, like you said, our major challenge in the electoral process is that even our courts are confused about what the law is. So if you look at the case of Kano, the Court of Appeal in Kano determined that the candidate of Abba Yusuf, that he was not a member of the party. That is supposed to be a pre-election matter. In Lagos State, the issue of whether or not the governor of Lagos State was validly nominated. The tribunal said it's a pre-election matter. Now, in court of it took it as a post-election matter, whether or not he was a member of the political party. These are the election matters. How can the Court of Appeal determine my membership of the political party? So, you see, the question is the law. In one particular tribunal, they will agree with whether issue of nomination is a pre-election matter. In the other part, for example, the State House of Assembly in Delta State, the election tribunal have said, oh, it is both a pre-election and a post-election matter. So the issue majorly is what the court take as the law on a particular issue.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Victor Giwa, legal practitioner, a national coordinator, advocate for people's rights and justice. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Mr. Giwa.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Well, there's a lot more coming on the program, one of which we told you that we are inside and outside the courtroom at the Supreme Court to ensure we bring you all of the actions. And political editor is already standing by, Shehu Kimbaloye, looking ready for action this morning. Shehu, good to see you. It's going to be a busy day. We're hearing numbers. 6 cases will be decided, 9 will be decided. So maybe you start from there and tell us what to expect.
Absolutely. We can make it very brief. We're on the morning brief. Hi, guys. Good morning. Welcome to the Supreme Court here, right here. Very close to the seat of power in Abuja. Well, as you can see in the background, of course, the Supreme Court, the security checks are still ongoing. And of course, the entrance and the exits here and there, lawyers and those who are in the case, that the cases that are going to be heard today or the delivery of the judgment are present in court and getting ready to get inside. It's going to be a very busy day for the justices of the Supreme Court who are going to be sitting today. Yes, it's a lot on the hands of the Supreme Court. It's a very special day. Fridays are usually very busy on a special day in the Supreme Court because that is usually when the Supreme Court delivers some of its judgment. But today on the cost list, I must confirm to you that we have on the cost list from the Supreme Court this morning cases from Plateau, Cross River, Abia, Zamfara, Abia, Lagos, Kano, Bauchi, and Plateau State. That's about 9 states which judgment might be delivered today by the Supreme Court. We know that the Supreme Court had deferred judgment on some of these cases when they first heard some of these the appeals in these governorship contests. But today, the fate of some of the governors, those who are on the sideline, will be determined today. Is it possible that we see some upset? Is it possible that we see some fundamental statement from the Supreme Court? But you know, of course, that whatever the Supreme Court says is a law.
Shehu, 9 is quite a number, and we see that it's already getting busy behind you. Share with us, tell us some of the faces that you have seen. Are those principals also arriving? Will they be seated in the Supreme Court as the justices deliver their ruling?
Yeah, of course, you know, the faces, the big ones are not arriving just yet. Of course, we see buses conveying people right here at the Supreme Court. You see, of course, as they're arriving. But you see some of the lawyers, some of whom I know very much here, who are in this matter, who are going to be standing for their... I mean, it's not a day for you to defend your case. It's a day for you to listen to the judgment. For those who are optimistic about getting a positive out of the Supreme Court today, you find them here. And some of them will be trickling in. It's just 7:55 a.m. The court is supposed to rise or start hearing the cases or delivering judgment or start. I mean, we should see the justices enter into the courtroom at about 9 a.m. That is officially when the court will open for its session. But yes, we will be expecting the big faces who are involved in this matter. And of course, you know, some of the big cases that a lot of Nigerians are talking about, the anticipation on the ground in this state, for example, Plateau State, Kano State, Nasarawa State, Bauchi State, Zamfara State. These are states that you look out for the contentious matters before the Supreme Court, and how the Supreme Court is going to deliver, or whatever the Supreme Court says about these cases, is going to be very, very interesting, and one that a lot of lawyers and Nigerians also will be chewing for the next few days.
I can bet that it's something you would also be chewing on your show, Politics Today, this evening. Our political editor, Shewa Kibaloye, live at the Supreme Court, where it'll all be going down. He says it's to start by 9 a.m. I can see him all kitted, ready.
I wanted to find out from him. I know, Shewa, you were there at the presidential election when it was decided at the court. I'm wondering, how long do you think this is going to last from your experience? Because you've been there, done that.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day, Jeffrey, and I tell you that if the Supreme Court is delivering judgment, what I imagine that could happen, I was listening to one of the guests on Morning Brief earlier, Mr. Giwa, who was talking about what the Supreme Court, or what the court says the law is the law. The Sociological School of Jurisprudence, who said, like, it's what the court or what the judges say the law is what the law is. But then it's going to be a long day, because when they are reeling out those judgments, you have to listen, especially when they are dissenting positions of the justices, because you have to listen to the dissenting judgment, then you have to listen to the lead judgment that will determine where the cases go. So if 9 cases are going to be determined today, let's say give and take, you'll see nothing less than 45 minutes or 1 hour for each of the cases, times 9. That's at least 9 hours.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
So you might want to get some coffee and the rest. But thank you so much, Shewa Kibaloye, our political editor, live there. We'll be back with you from time to time to walk us through what's going on. Now, one of the states that he mentioned to watch out for is Kano. And we understand why. You can see behind him red caps and the rest. That is, of course, Kano highlights. We have our correspondent, Sadiq Ilyasu, live for us in Kano State to tell us what the atmosphere is like. We saw the police earlier on saying there should be no gatherings whatsoever. But Sadiq, tell us, what is going on in Kano?
Well, I could say today is a very wonderful day for the Kano people, because they are expecting the long-awaited judgment. And as you know, whenever there is going to be this kind of judgment, usually the police gives out their briefing. Yesterday, the police commissioner called for a quick briefing. When we reached there were military officials, there were customs, there were immigration, all other agencies, the VSS, everybody were there. And there was also a show of force by these joint security agencies. And he wants that anybody who here you can disrupt the peace in the state will be dealt with. That he didn't know his words. He was very serious about that. But let me just take you a little back to what has been happening in the court, right from the tribunal. If you could remember, the initial case was filed by the APC and the APC candidate, the governorship candidate, in Dauna. And they filed challenging the success of the governor of Kano, who is Abba Kabir Yusuf. However, the tribunal ruled in their favor. And before the tribunal ruled, one thing that people usually forget is that actually Dauna pulled out from the appeal, from the tribunal petition. So it was the APC that took charge, and they got success. I would say it's a success for them at the tribunal. And there are 3 important rulings that was done by the tribunal. One was on the issue of ballot papers that were not signed and dated. And second, there was also an issue of the margin. You know, the margin between the 2 candidates was about 128,000. And what actually, they also challenged that the council votes were more than the margin. If you could remember, Friday, on that very day, I crossed live and spoke to you, and I told you that the margin was about 230 votes. And so the tribunal also ruled on that, meaning that it could have gone inconclusive. And the third judgment was on whether Adba is a member of the NNPC or not. And the tribunal did judge, but said, ruled on it, but said it had no jurisdiction. But however, they said the NNPC could not prove that.
Indeed, Sadiq, we're going to be hearing a lot of those reviews subsequently, but give us a sense of how Kano residents are processing what's going to happen at the Supreme Court today. How we know that, Kano is the capital of politics, but particularly the Supreme Court's, the apex court's ruling on the election petition today. Give us a sense of how they're processing it.
Well, I was coming to that as well. But here with me is the paper that I received from one of the schools in Kano. Let me just read to you what the paper said. We are writing to inform you that there will be no school on Friday, that's today, January 12, 2024, due to the final Kano State gubernatorial verdict by the Supreme Court. This is not just from one school. I believe most of the schools in Kano are shut down today because they are scared of what might happen in the state. And as you can see behind me, this is not the normal traffic that we used to see in Kano, because this is one of the major roads in Kano State, the state road. And you can see behind me, only a few people are moving around. Although it's still morning, but this is actually not what we used to see before. And while I was standing here before you come to me, the Commissioner of Police himself just passed by this road and he was moving around. I believe he's going around the state to ensure that everything is good.
Yes, indeed. Sadiq Ilyasu, our correspondent in Kano, keeping an eye on the city, the major city center, to find out exactly what happens afterwards. We hope there will be peace and tranquility and law and order. That is the prayer of everyone. But our attention is also at the Supreme Court, where those verdicts will be coming from. Thank you, Sadiq Ilyasu, for coming through. We'll touch down with you, or touch base with you as soon as this develops even further. Well, it's not just what's going on at the Supreme Court we'll be talking about. In 24 hours, we'll be heading out to Abidjan. I mean, those of us who are still in Nigeria via television.
Virtually. Yeah.
Via television, because my guys were looking at me like, are you traveling? Maybe a private jet, you may never know. So that is what we'll be talking about in a moment.
We're waiting to kick it.
That's why we have the football.
That's it. That's the football right here. Okay. So our solidarity and our support for the Super Eagles. That's what we'll be talking about next. Our correspondent and sports anchor, Cecilia Morogwe, will be joining us in a moment. Join us again.
I want to use this opportunity too to warn Nigerians who are philanthropists to be very careful too of the kind of promises they make. Because I know that there was this engagement, the last two African Cup of Nations, we had some problem. When you come out to say any player that can score the first goal, you will give him 4 or 5 million, you are already destabilizing the team. I am very optimistic that Nigeria can take the cup. I'm saying that because look at the volume of the talents and the skill. If you look at the African race, Nigeria has the highest volume of talents abroad. In their respective clubs, they are doing pretty well. So you don't expect Nigeria to win the African Best of the Year, and when it comes to AFCON, you go home with bronze medal or silver or not qualify at all, and you think they have done well. It takes a knowledgeable technical advisor to know the role of each of the players. Knowing your player, know his role, know what he can do, and tell him to do it as at when he's supposed to do it. And again, look at it this way. When Okocha finished the judge, Daniel Mokachi was there. We called them the dream team of Nigeria at that time. What happened? They know themselves and they play their ball. And you understand that in that team then, we have the like of a finisher like Rashid Hakimi. These boys play as a team, send the pass at the time Rashid wanted, and he delivered Nigeria as at that time.
We have such players. We've not done too badly, even though a lot of Nigerians are apprehensive that the Super Eagles may not do too well, at the African Cup of Nations. And I've also told Nigerians that, look, we've never really had the best of preparations. And sometimes when you write the Eagles off, they can shock you with surprises. So I think on the balance of scale, we should be among the two teams that will qualify, from that group. Some have said Nigeria may not qualify from that group. I want to disagree. We have Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. There is no team that is difficult for Nigerian to handle. Some say, look, we're in the group of the host nation, and that will pile enormous pressure on Nigeria. Let me also remind a lot of people that we've had a kind of topsy-turvy encounters with the Ivory Coast, the Ivorian national team. So I don't see Nigeria not qualifying from that group. Yeah, recent news stated that President Tinubu had paid practically everything that had to do with outstanding dues, with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I'm sure that will also include the amount of money we are owing the technical manager, Ote Pesero, and I'm sure that may also include some of the previous outstanding match bonuses and all of that we are owing the players. So I'm sure they are going into this competition guaranteed that all of their previous monies being owed will have been tackled or should be in the process of being tackled. So they arrive Cote d'Ivoire better motivated. Remember, we have injury hits already. We already have some of our strikers, not available. As at today, the only fit striker that we have in Super Eagles, as at this interview, is Victor Osimhen. We're expecting Kelechi Iheanacho and others to join, the team in Cote d'Ivoire. Otherwise, then we have to struggle a little bit. But then we can rise to the occasion and get the results in the long run.
All right, we're the unofficial supporters club of the Super Eagles.
Good.
We have addressed. Let's do it again. That's what it
Yeah,
is
let's do it again.
And to do it with us today again is Cecilia Omorgbe. Cecilia, Sunday is a D-Day for the Super Eagles, but tomorrow is a D-Day for AFCON. So we're all dressed. Bukola even has the ball.
And I'm getting set to kick the ball
for the African Cup of Nations. It's just one day to go, as you mentioned. Tomorrow, that's when opening ceremony. Cote d'Ivoire, of course, the host nation will be up against Guinea-Bissau. And when you take a look at these two countries, take a look at Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, you can't really see a superstar there. Wilfred Zaha, the most popular face, with the team, is actually not there. Sebastian Haller, yes, he was not even invited. Wilfred Zaha is not part of the squad. Sebastian Haller, yes, that's another player that's a kind of a known name. But hey, how much is he going to bring into it? So, apart from the host nation, the fans are actually anticipating a fantastic game, so to speak. And the fact that Guinea-Bissau and Cote d'Ivoire, the distance, from what is not too far. Yes, the tickets sold out, even before. I think it was 2 weeks to the Nations Cup. Tickets was already sold out. So it's going to be, the stadium obviously is going to be filled up. But in the streets of Cote d'Ivoire, there's something you will see. The vendors, those who are trying to make money out of the Nations Cup, because you don't spend $1.5 million to host a tournament and then not get so much out of it. So that's why all over the countries, you could see vendors coming out selling, T-shirts are selling like hotcakes, so to speak, and not just that, different jerseys across the continent. The countries are participating, 24 in all. And the last time Cote d'Ivoire hosted the Nations Cup,
40 years ago.
Yeah, 40 years ago. That was 1984. Wow. And then if you take a look at far back in 1984, it was just 8 teams that participated, and now you're having 24. So for these people, they have a lot to look forward to. So in terms of the economy, so much money will obviously be made. And when Nigeria actually landed, you saw what the captain thing, the Nigerian thing and everything. And Ghana, they had to do their kente and everyone. So every country going had to represent
Ghana versus Nigeria.
But I'm so happy that we're not going to meet at the group stage. If we're going to meet Ghana, it could be much later. That's if Ghana progress. We know what happened in the last Nations Cup, where country like Comoros, had to take them out in the sense that they didn't get out of the group stage and they didn't get any win. But if that doesn't happen, maybe towards the later stage, likely that meeting could just be there. But for now,
So, no, just land on your thought. I wanted it.
Yeah, but for now, our focus, of course, is on Super Eagles of Nigeria because we're trying to do it again. And the story coming from the Super Eagles camp is not everyone will be happy about it simply because Umar Sadiq, you know, when we learned that he was injured, he picked up a knock during training. We felt, okay, it's just something that won't be serious. Might just miss 1 or 2 games. But he's out of the tournament right now, and you're having Paul Onuachu coming in. So that's like 3 changes. I mean, you have Terry Murphy coming in, you have Alassane Yusuf coming in, now you're having, well, Paul Onuachu coming in. When you ask a coach, I mean, CAF understands why he wanted most countries, all the countries to actually have 27 players, but we had to go with 25 because the coach felt he could manage that. But now he's calling in players to come replace the ones that are injured. Just imagine he has gone with 27. You won't have much headache. So he's going to tweak his formation again. You know, he did that against Guinea. You see how we lost. So we don't know what we're going to be expecting on Sunday. So it's kind of tricky right now.
But I know it comes with the terrain. But I'll move on from that question because Awoniyi, Ndidi, they are just going. And these are the people we're trusting. And the sad part is the fact that the only hope or one of our greatest strengths in this tournament is our front line.
Yes, of course.
You know, we're just relying on many things for the midfield and the defense and all of that. And even the goalkeeper. But this is the place where we felt that, okay, we're ready and this is happening. But so with this at the back of your mind, like, walk us through our very first match. Our very first match.
I'm afraid, really.
What should we be expecting?
Already.
You know, the last time I was here,
we can't afford to lose our first match.
When I was here, I was really happy. I made confidence and everything. You know, when Victor Boniface dropped out, we felt, okay, fine. You're having Terry Murphy coming in because he scored. I mean, he's in terms of goal ratio, he's better than, you know, when Terry Murphy came in and everything, I felt, okay, fine. We have something, you know, different, something to look forward to, something, to fall back on. But now I don't even know what he's going to do because he said, you know, against Guinea, that game we lost, that he was trying a different formation because of the injury that crop up. You know, I mean, you didn't have Victor Boniface, so you had to like make changes and everything. And now you're having another player dropping out. Wow. And you're bringing in another one. So I don't know where it's going to play because the pairing we're thinking would have been at first the 2 victors up front and then one of the victors was out. And we thought, okay, fine, you're going to be having, you know, Terry Murphy coming in and Umar Sadiq is there. Umar Sadiq is out. So of course Terry Murphy is still not in camp. I don't know when he's going to be in camp. So he may not even play the first game. So what's going to happen up front? So that's kind of scary. But I know that Nigerians, I mean, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, when they are pushed to the wall, that's when they fight back and try to win, come up with something. But that was before. But now there's this frail psychological issues that is happening. You don't see that in them anymore. If you take your mind back to Cameroon, you know, the last Nations Cup where Coach Gov'Ship was in charge and everything. Against Tunisia, they scored first. We thought, okay, we can actually unlock this. But somehow, we just couldn't. We couldn't fight back. That zeal, that hunger just wasn't there. The players weren't thinking, you're going out if you don't win this. We didn't see that fight. And that's what we've not been seeing for a while. So when you don't see that fight, that hunger in players recent times, you're thinking, are we going to see that at this Nations Cup? But I'm happy that with the campaign that's been done so far, the Let's Do Taking campaign and everything, with everyone behind, 220 million Nigerians behind the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, we're also supporting them from here. And the send forth that was done to them, by the various governors and everything. I just hope they will know and understand that, yes, everyone is behind them. Let that confidence come back. You either... literally die on the field.
Passion.
We died there. They always say,
you understand?
It's like she needs to go to the dressing room and say, guys, this is what Nigerians are expecting you to do. I'm sure Bukola has a question.
Sisi, beyond all of that optimism, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves, particularly because the expectations from the fans also for this Nations Cup has not been what you used to be before, perhaps because of so many disappointments. Yes, the Eagles upon arrival may be putting up a show, you know, with all of the costume. But from your experience, having covered a number of Nations Cups, tell us what you think will be going on in the Eagles camp, particularly because of the atmosphere, as regards their morale.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high because true second, we listened to him. He said, okay, fine, he has never won a Nations Cup before, but we have 2 players that won it. I mean, Ahmed Musa is there. That's why a lot of people were asking, why is he here?
Yeah.
But you understand that you need that experience. You need
Absolutely.
someone who has, who understands what it means to win a trophy for a nation. And every time you listen to him, you could see that hunger in him. Kenneth Omero also was part of the squad who won. These are the 2 players. So you need them. If you have these 2 players and the way they are talking, I believe in these guys. At least, I mean, you don't even need to understand Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen is a fighter. Imagine the kind of passion, the way Victor Osimhen plays. Alex Iwobi plays, Ndidi, for instance, at his very best. I mean, if you can see that in all the players, that's something I don't see. I don't want to mention some of their names because it's kind of like, oh, you're trying to name pick some players. I've watched some players play. It's like I'm not supposed to be here. You could feel that when you see them on the field. You're like, come on, guys, you need to win this. We'll go to the next stage. But you don't see that. In Abuja here, when Ghana came, I mean, we lost. We didn't go to the World Cup in Qatar, which is still very painful to so many people because we felt we needed to be there. But hey, you have to show it on the field of play. We didn't see that hunger at all. After Victor Osimhen was everywhere, defending, in the midfield and all. We didn't see we didn't see much of that. So that's something I want to see in the Super Eagles again.
Exactly.
Perhaps a lack of cohesion is because they're all being called up to. Some of them have been called up to camp.
It's been there,
and they haven't been played together.
We know we know about the cohesion. We know the midfield.
We must ask you this question before we go. Sometimes situations like this create opportunity for people to shine.
Yes.
What are you going to see? Who are you expecting to shine? Maybe across the continent, not necessarily the Super Eagles. Just 1 minute.
Across the continent, who do I think? I think Mo Salah. I mean, Mo Salah have 14 goals going into this.
Salah's been shining for.
I mean, he's been
We're
shining.
looking for non-Chinese.
Okay, non-Chinese.
New China.
But we have the African Footballer of the Year in our own
Victor
camp.
Osimhen, he wasn't at the last Nations Cup.
Right.
So because of facial injury and also COVID happens and he couldn't go. But I think Victor Osimhen, this will be his Nations Cup.
Yes.
Go,
But just before we
Victor.
go, we have to say we support the Super Eagles. Absolutely. That's why we're all dressed in this. Let's do it again, guys. We love our football team. We love our players.
I thought we're all going to be
football.
well, let's all of us.
Okay.
What can we chant?
Let's
Just
chant.
make them-
Let's do it again.
Go Super Eagles. 2, 3.
What are we chanting?
No, we're saying let's do it again.
Go Super Eagles.
Go
Let's
Super
do it
Eagles.
again.
Go
Let's
Super
do it
Eagles.
again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, guide us.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You guide us.
1, 2, 3, go.
Go Super Eagles. Let's do it again.
Thank
Go
you,
for
Cecilia.
All right, welcome back to the morning brief. We hope you're still high on that morale that we pumped into the Eagles camp. Well, we're moving on to the next part of the program now. And as we started off the new year, I no grief for anybody. So I'm not giving the guys room on this segment. Well, they'll have their say.
You'll be shocked.
Okay, yeah. We're going to slug it out together. Let's welcome our next guest, Mr. Segun Anifowose, otherwise known as King Glab, is a chef. Mr. Anifowose, welcome to the morning brief.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes.
It's nice to be on set with you.
It's nice to have you. And, we're just going ahead to help Nigerians plan a good budget for a fairly affordable yet nutritious meal. So let's start. It's curious that our chef is male, but we'll get to that part of the conversation. Let's start with a budget, a meal on a good budget, yet nutritious. Walk us through it. How do we achieve that?
It's very important that we infuse vegetables into our breakfast because most Nigerians just want to dash out of the house. Maybe a societal structure thing and the hustle and bustle of Lagos, you can't even pick a meal. But with vegetables and sandwiches, you're on the go. It improves the mood for the day and psychologically it just gives you a lift. Because there's this thing is, do you do 101, do you do 001, or do you 0000?
That's an additional zero.
But when you say vegetables, just quickly button. When an average Nigerian hears vegetable, you know what we think about?
Ugu
We get ewedu and the rest. So please break it down for us. So I'm not eating sandwich and ewedu. Is that what you're asking me to do?
So it's important our carrots, our cabbage, and our lettuce come in because Those, and even moringa seeds, those are energy boosting meals for your breakfast. I know you want to dash off to work. I understand you really want to hurry down to the office, but please just grab a cup of coffee or probably even a tea. But ensure, and you could go the African way, the akara. Let's have akara.
Wait. Looks like I'm eating the humble sandwich already in this conversation. Moringa seed in breakfast, in tea.
Yes, in tea.
That's new.
It's immune boosting. Most times you can't even eat lunch. You wait for dinner. But moringa seed keeps you pumped and alive throughout the day. It's very, very essential.
Okay, so just a drop of it in the coffee or in the tea?
In the tea.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, let's talk about utensils now and some of the things that are needed. Not when you look at the economic strata, not everybody can afford to maybe have a toaster and all of this. So what are the basics? Forget the people that can afford it. I mean, the very people that may not be able to afford some of this big. What are small basics besides having stove in their house to make sure that they whip up well-cooked meal all the time? But we're talking about on a budget here. What are the other things they should have besides maybe stove or a gas in the house to help them with these processes?
For a breakfast, all you need is a fry pan.
Okay.
Because definitely when we were in school, we did something called risky burgers. Okay. Risky burgers, just have your agege bread, you slice it in.
So you did that?
That's how.
So we all did that.
I basically survived through it. So you just slice it in and
Put
you
your
pan fry your bread. Makes it so beautiful. And that's what I do basically. You say, is it a toaster? No. Not
Forget. It's always.
It reminds me of when I was in the university. There's something called afang melon draw. For those who understand it, forget. Go.
If you don't get it, forget it.
You guys are...
Okay, quite interesting. I remember in boarding schools they used to use irons to, press the bread and put in paper. But hey, we don't encourage all of that. But in terms of cost now, how much do you think an average budget meal, nutritious breakfast would cost? And you can talk about the ingredients that would. It doesn't have to be sandwich. It could be akara. But if I want a budget for a breakfast, and I know that my pocket is very humble. Okay, I'm earning minimum wage. How much should I budget? How much do you think can get me a good meal? And what are the options? Really?
Okay, for a 3,000 naira budget, it could last you 4 days. If you get your vegetables at the right spot, get your bread. If it's 200 naira, you get 4 of them. That's 800. You store it. Then you have your eggs. Egg is like 100 or 150.
Egg is gold though.
Egg is 100 or 150. So there's this akara mix they sell now for 300, 400 on the streets. Just fry it with the egg. So with 3,000 naira, you can have a good breakfast for 4 days. It's something I've practically tried, and even for my co-workers, which insist they can't eat every meal in the morning. So we do that. And ogi also 15 naira. That's, as you can see, that's papa and akara.
You made this.
Yes.
Fantastic. Did you bring some of it?
But Chef Glab, there are those who earn on a daily basis and who earn maybe 1,000 naira on a daily basis or 1,500 naira on a daily basis. How do they plan for such a breakfast, which could be expensive for them if they're going to spend 3,000 naira for over a period of 4 days? You said, yeah.
So now that's why they are basically outlets. For this meal in your picture, it shouldn't cost 200, 300, 400, 500 max for this meal in your picture. Because if you break it down, food is very essential all through the day, and eating right is also key. You spend less at the hospital. While even conversing, your mind is at peace. An hungry mind, they say, It's an angry man.
So I can see that you're saying this is about, in dollar terms now, maybe about 50 cents or so.
But
Depending
really,
on
one akara is 50 naira. And this is 1, 2, 3,
This
4.
one,
That's
two,
like
three.
8 or so.
That's 500.
This akara is suspect because this akara looks like it's not for the low income earners. So if you count the akara, it's like 15 akara. I don't know. And then you see milk. Milk is about 400 and something naira, right?
We could have sachet milk for
Sachet.
150
Okay,
naira.
so you mix it with water.
Yes.
And pour on the pap.
And the pap is just 100 naira.
The pap is just 100 naira. So let's talk about, you mentioned the fact that with 3,000 naira you can, whip up something for yourself for 4
days.
4 days. What about preservation? How do you preserve these things?
While we're in uni, we didn't have freezers and all. So the basic thing is you have a bowl, you get ice, you put it underneath the bowl, then there's a cloth we put on the ice, then we store all our stuff on it. It preserves it.
No, you were really rugged in school.
We wanted to show off big boys too, but your pockets
it's not big.
It didn't match the big
your
boy.
pocket is not big.
So you just have to think outside the box in order, because you can't even eat up cafeterias.
So the cloth will prevent the ice from melting?
No, it does not allow water to touch anything you want to preserve. It's cold. It preserves anything you want to keep preserved. That we did it even in boarding house.
But the average Nigerian these days, of course, will have a refrigerator. The only challenge is power. Getting power. But also, I wanted to touch on this. A lot of people get that block. Everyday rice. So there's I don't know if it's a chef's block or just lethargy in exploring new things. What are the new food options we should try this year that are affordable and nutritional, so a lot of people can add it
and accessible?
And accessible, absolutely, so they can add it to their, I don't know if you call it the timetable now or your meals table.
Yeah, the food table.
What are the new meal options, creative, that people should begin to look into as well?
I think Nigerians are becoming creative because even rice is expensive these days. So even the grains of rice, people now use it for masa. It's more in the north, but people have stayed in the north, they're recreating the meals now. Masa in the north is 15 naira for one piece. You only need 2 pieces to fill yourself up. So we should have. Nigerians don't want to eat beans. There's this perception that a bricklayer go eat beans and something.
No, but there's a wagon. And a wagon is a very, very good option for breakfast.
Early in the morning, you see them at the liberals.
They stock up on that.
So now there's a pasta pandemic in Lagos.
What did you call it?
Pasta pandemic.
I've seen some of your videos. You mixing that pasta. You are the one encouraging the pandemic. I see.
So we do our best to say, okay, would you like to try other meals? But I don't know. There's a sentiment with rice, pasta. Nigerians want speed meals, quick meals. They don't have the patience to want to fry their corn. You want to take time, even for boli. If you're on the road and the boli, tell you that, would you be patient to wait for some film? You're like, guy, if he's not ready.
Guilty.
I'm to the next move. So rice will be hard to take away from the staple Nigerian meal right now.
And that brings me to the next point. You talked about eating healthy, and Nigerians have a particular penchant for adding those canned foods to their meals. I want you to, advise on the measure, if you're going to use it at all, or alternatives, to adding all of those embellishments that have been processed into their meals.
The worst cases is the ones that don't even rinse the canned foods, like your sweet corn. I've seen people just pour it into the fried rice straight off like that.
When they buy it from the stores?
Yes.
Wow.
There's the water preservative to it. Like, it makes the fried rice sweet. Yes, it does, but it's unhealthy.
Okay.
It's good to wash up because they only added it in order to preserve the lifespan of those items. We need to start doing. There's this thing, Iru. in
Like
Yoruba.
locust beans.
Locust beans. Those are local spices. Those are things that are very, very healthy and we should infuse into our meal.
So, some are saying that you can use that as an alternative to seasoning.
Yes, even
As in
crayfish.
but to lose the taste.
Yeah, anyway, I cook without seasoning, you know, and all of that. So it's for years.
Bukola, you see why you
Yes,
should learn
I
from
do.
both of us?
No, Bukola thought we don't
I don't
cook. So
season
I think
as well.
What I wanted to find out when it comes to some of these things is, especially people who live in Lagos, we always give the excuse that I'm in a hurry. In fact, some people say, I'm not a breakfast person.
Yes.
Does that even make sense?
It doesn't. Because it makes you less productive. Breakfast can improve your mood.
Okay.
Improve even your body metabolism to working better. I understand we're fixed in a system that the system is wrong. Yeah. Just hustle.
Keep pushing.
Without taking care of oneself. A healthy mind is a healthy soul. And it gives you can even generate more out of your body. That's why most Nigerians break down. I've been in the show before, so I understand.
What about those processed fish? I know you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to promote the brands. In what measure should we use them, or should we stop using them at all?
Nigerians can't even afford processed fish right now because it's so expensive.
Sure.
As I'm talking about the lemon Nigerian, because it's very, very expensive and all. But I would advise, why don't you just get a Titus, store it, and keep cooking and keep using rather than the canned fish.
Well, I just want to say quickly that our regards to Queen Glab, because I know for every King Glab
there's a Queen Glab, right?
So tell Queen Glab we send our regards.
Yeah.
I'm honored. Queen Glab just gave birth, so I'm
congratulations.
just a few weeks ago.
Congratulations.
I had to feed the baby with
So is
breakfast
it a
this
Prince
morning.
Glab or a Princess Glab?
It's a Prince Glab.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You fed your baby this morning.
Yeah, so there's going to be some jollof, to celebrate.
Next time we're bringing you, we're going to have that, everything right here. Well, must thank you for coming on the program, Mr. Shegu Nifowoshe, the CEO and founder of Glaberina, right?
Yes.
Glaberima.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, King Glab, for coming on the program. We must appreciate you. And we will bring you back, definitely, regards to the family, we must say.
And this time around for a quick breakfast.
Yeah, we'll make something.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back in just a moment. How healthy are you in terms of your cardiovascular health? That is what we'll be exploring when we come back. Join us again. Now, before you go running about your business on a Friday, and of course, I know you're going to wind down at some point at the end of the day and head to the weekend to do, I'm not sure what, but we're here to help you to ensure that your cardiovascular health is intact and put together, and so that you'll be as productive as possible. And that's why we have our very own, the one and only Beauty Musa in the building. Our fitness coach. She's back. She's back.
She's back.
She's back. The last time, they finished me online, at home. I'm going to do better today.
You won't grieve for that.
Yes, no, this time, I no grieve. But welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start off from where we left off with the chef that just left. We talked about healthy living and all of that. So for you, besides exercise and all of that, what are your food options in terms of dieting?
Yeah, he mentioned something about breakfast being very important.
Yeah.
And I would like to start from there. For your health, breakfast should actually come as a priority. Reasons are, aside helping to start your day, it has a way of boosting your blood sugar to set the pace on how you're going to run with your day. So if you don't eat a good breakfast, for instance, your blood sugar is not boosted up. Most of the time you're sluggish. You're not so active as you should. Though most people are used to it, but trust me, if you're used to it, you need to give it a change, because if you give it a change, you're going to notice a big difference from the way you participate in your chores and office works compared to when you don't take breakfast. And he mentioned something about eating local beans, and that one just blew me away, because trust me, the last time we spoke about eating more of brownies
instead of whites.
And he mentioned akara, and seriously I was blown away because the guy really went straight to how meals should come in healthy. So akara is actually a very good option.
Okay, and I was going to talk about that because we love our rice, our pasta, our bread. If you take that from us, there might be a protest.
That is why we are not taking that away.
You don't want protest?
No, we don't want protest. We are not taking it away from you.
Yeah.
We are asking you to do that once in a while. Last time I mentioned once in a week. I have a client that spoils herself during the weekends. As in she does all the whites, all the pastas, all the ice creams and everything during the weekend.
More like a cheat day.
Thank you. More like a cheat day. But on Mondays, she steps on the scale. And most of the time, she just adds like 1 kg, 1.5 kg. And throughout that week, she works out like a horse.
Okay.
So
she
it's more
burns
like
it.
big fitness arithmetics. So she's spoiling herself, and then she's working out like a horse to make sure she burns those additional calories that she has indulged during the weekend. So, like I said, we are not taking it. Don't protest. They are not taking it away from you.
But Coach Musa, let's add the provisos now. Yes, we know that breakfast is very important, but for those who are committed to a healthy lifestyle in terms of fitness, exercise, there's no breakfast before you go to the gym, right? There's no breakfast. You don't take breakfast before you begin your exercise for the day. And as a matter of fact, there are also rules about water, drinking water. Walk us through those rules.
Okay. Let's not rule it out completely that you don't take breakfast.
Okay.
What we say is you take dextrine. Dextrine is like your toast bread.
Okay.
The brown toast bread.
All right.
You know the brown part of the bread? That brown is the dextrine carbohydrate.
Look at the edge.
Yeah, that one the bread that we usually cut off, that brown part.
Not everybody cuts it.
Not everybody. No, guys don't cut it
Ah.
off. But most people like remove that brown part.
Yeah.
That brown part is the dextrine. It's likened to the toast bread.
Okay.
So we advise that you take just 1 toast and maybe a little cup of tea, 2 hours to your gym workout. It has a way of boosting your blood sugar and setting the pace to allow you work out maximally.
Okay.
So the focus, one of the major focus what we brought you today is cardiovascular health.
Absolutely.
So what exactly do we need to know when it comes to our cardiovascular health and exercise?
Okay. There are different kind of workout. There is aerobics, there's anaerobics. Now, aerobics is what boosts your cardiovascular health. When you're carrying weights, that's anaerobics. That is just weight training. That is not cardios. You can be muscular, but your cardiovascular endurance is not in place, which means you cannot do longer chores for longer hours without getting tired.
Right.
Do you understand?
Oh, okay.
So cardios are actually different from weight training. So you need cardios for a way of life, actually, because it is cardios that set the pace for your own health.
Okay.
And the kind of cardios we are talking about, like brisk walking, like you're running on the treadmill, like aerobics is cardios. Swimming is also cardio workouts. Then ellipticals are also cardio workouts. So actually, if you are asked to choose between bodybuilding and cardios, bodybuilding doesn't make you healthy. It's cardios that make, because cardios targets your heart and your lungs. And the wider your lungs, the more endurance you get, because it means your body can take in
better.
large volume of oxygen.
Okay.
Not
Brilliant.
just alveoli sac in your lungs. When you start working out, supposing you've not been working out before, when you start working out, you notice you're coughing. You're coughing because your lungs are trying to expand.
Okay.
That is why you see swimmers, they have, most of them, their chest is like, because the sac is wide enough to take enough oxygen, because if your sac can take a larger volume of oxygen, that is when your endurance can increase.
Brilliant. Now, go ahead.
Pardon
Ferdy.
me, because
Yeah.
I wanted to link this to health challenges that are prevalent these days. And we see a lot of young people now battling hypertension and the rest. So what role do these, particularly aerobics, what role do they play in helping to manage hypertension, diabetes, some of these health challenges that have now become a thing? Even anxiety, some people have panic attacks, shortness of breath and the rest. So Do they help? How do they help? If that's something we can also add.
Okay, like I mentioned now, that once you start working out, your lungs start expanding. So cardio expands your lungs. And when your lungs are expanded, oxygen can come in. You know, oxygen movements into the bloodstream. You know, let me not start speaking biology and anatomy so that we don't confuse some people. So cardio actually has a way of helping to boost your endurance, helping to boost your blood pressure, helping to have to expand your lungs so that it can take more oxygen. And once your lungs can take more oxygen, it means you have enough oxygen to be redistributed into your bloodstream. And of course, if you have enough oxygen to get into the bloodstream, you hardly have the same problems of shortness of breath, because of course there's plenty of oxygen to go around.
Exactly.
And then you hardly have this issue of not being able to perform activities because you have enough oxygen to energize you, you know. So cardiovascular exercises, exercise that boosts your cardiovascular endurance, actually has a way of like giving you that strength, that agility, that ability to do more walks, and it has a way of channeling and helping your health.
So now, relating to that, for those who have been diagnosed with one form of heart ailment or the other, how much aerobics should they do? Then you didn't quite land on how much water I should take during exercise.
Okay, we always say stay hydrated. During exercises, we advise that you don't gulp in so much, because of course, if you gulp in so much, you may not be able to carry yourself. So we just tell you to take a sip. And when we are saying take a sip, like two gulps, 3 gulps is just enough. That is during an exercise regimen. Yeah, water actually has a lot of role, because you need to be hydrated while you're working out. So you can't say don't take so much, but just take a sip and then you bounce back again, because of course you're sweating, your water is flowing out, so you need to take and stay
amazing.
hydrated.
I wanted to be.
How much exercise should you do if you've been diagnosed of heart disease?
If you've been diagnosed of heart disease, let me tell you how I do this. Because if I'm working with people with health histories, we ask all these questions, we get all your test results, and it's from there we'll now design a kind of exercise. We had an elderly woman that was almost 70. She could hardly climb the staircase when she was coming to the gym. But though our gym is not upstairs, it's a ground floor, but there's a little staircase, but she couldn't climb. Did you know that when we started, she could only do 3 minutes on the elliptical? As I speak with you, Mama does, you would have seen her on my social media, and she wears this big labo skirt. She will do 30 minutes. Right now, she does 30 minutes.
Whoa.
That is because when we start with you, if you have health challenges, we take your health histories, we put them down. We'll now design a kind of program workout to help to channel your challenges and your health history, so that we start working on this step by step. We don't just bamboozle you into plenty of activities like that.
Okay, we have just 2 minutes to, ensure that you shake us up a little bit. So,
Jeff, you're not being 2 minutes.
Are you sure it's 2 minutes? It's 5 minutes. So don't cut our time.
Don't cut
so let's step out. I'm going to be
I need to
somewhere
take off my jacket, guys. I'll join you in a second.
Let's step out. No. Okay.
We should take off our jackets, shouldn't we?
We understand we should take off.
So don't forget the slogan: no fun, no gain.
Or no pain, no gain.
No fun, no gain.
Okay.
Okay. Whew. What are we waiting for?
We're waiting for him.
I'll say a little prayer.
I'll try the one I can try.
No, I'll make it easy, like I said. No fun, no gain. Get fit.
Did you just put a word going there? Whoever did that?
You're spoiling things for us, yeah.
Okay.
Don't tempt us.
Okay, tempt us.
Okay.
We'll just forget
Breakfast
that
right after the drill.
Okay, so let's just start with warm-ups, like I said.
Okay, let's stay behind that.
Yes, warm-up when you're starting any exercise regimen, so that you don't have injuries, okay? First of all, you breathe in and you breathe out. Again, like I said, no fun, no gain. Go down, breathe in, and then you breathe out. All right, now I need you to just squat down a bit and place your arms on your thighs. Now you're going to flex your elbow, your shoulders, your right shoulders. Yeah. All right, good. You feel so good with this, honestly. Now flex the left shoulders, just flex it there. Wow, Jeff, I can feel you. Yeah, you feel really good.
Jeff, you're not bending down.
Now I need you to just circle your shoulders backwards, 2 and 3. Beautiful. Now second front, forward, 2, 3 and 4. Now take your arms up. Now you're going to turn sideways let's just roll it down. Because of Jeff, we are not going to do so.
Oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Oh.
Jeff is getting it right there.
Don't embarrass
the
me.
other side, it's the other side, Jeff. Let's go.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You feel so good with that. Go. Take it up and down. Now we're going to flex sideways. Jeff, let's go. Now just flex this knee that way. Now I need you to straighten this leg, straighten it out, Jeff. Let's go. Now you're going to take your arms up. I need you to chest out, Jeff. 1, 2. Jeff, take it up, up. Beautiful. 3, 4, and down. Now change to the other side. Just flex your knee.
This is good.
And down. Take it up.
Take it up.
Good. And down. Beautiful. All right, now we just go straight to cardio. Walk it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 2, 1, 2. Yeah, you look good. You look good. 1, 2. Good. Like I said, no fun, no game. Get fit.
Marching.
Get
marching on the morning break.
We should get some music.
Marching.
Yeah. Next time when she comes, you're going to
get some music, right?
Look great. Look great.
Jeff, lift your knees.
Good. 2.
Come on, stop targeting
4,
Jeff.
5, 6.
Today, I'll have my revenge.
2.
There you go.
Jeff. No. Left, right. Good.
Okay,
that's it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I vowed I'm not going to disgrace anybody today.
Look good. Get fit. That's it, Jeff.
Go,
Look good.
Jeff. Go, Jeff.
Go,
What is the problem?
That's 4 and 5 and 6, 7, 8.
So what should your
9
breathing
and 10.
rhythm be during all of this? Just breathe in and breathe out normally.
Breathe in and breathe out. Just stretch it sideways. 1. Good. Jeff is getting it right today. Wow. 3.
It's revenge day.
4, 5, 6. All right. Now just put your legs together. Wiggle. 2, 3. Jeff, put your legs together. Come on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Reminds me of Fella's
And
dance.
10. Now separate your legs, shoulder width apart. Now, Jeff, I need you to start punching with your right feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
I know you can do that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep fit.
So we hope
Look good.
you're joining in the drill at home.
Good.
And not just
Absolutely.
watching.
Transform your life.
Yeah.
Transform your life with a smile. No fun, no game. Go.
Hey.
2.
You're jumping along with us.
1, 2,
3, 4.
1, 2.
And doing the kick.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Good, Jeff. Let's go. Last one. And that's good. Just stretch it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, take it forward. Let's cool it down. Good.
Oh, I
Spread
love
it
that
out.
stretch.
Good. You feel really good.
Yeah.
Now flex your right knees. Jeff.
Yeah, my right.
Beautiful. You got it. Flex your left knees. Beautiful. All right. Now take it up.
That's some stretching.
And down. I think we're done.
You got it. You got it.
Where's our producer this morning?
Wow, that was good.
He's
That was
supposed
really,
to join
really
us
good.
for the
So
drill.
how often
So,
do you do this?
you know-
Every morning, right? You can do this every morning? Or
Minimum
evening?
three times weekly.
3 times weekly.
Yes. Oh, I will always tell you to go at your pace. When I say go at your pace, it means even 2 minutes is not bad.
Yeah.
As long as you break out in sweat.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, make sure you break out. Even if it's 2 minutes, just start from somewhere. Just start. This 2024. Start.
Yes, that's.
And allow the heart to pump some blood,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So
We gotta run now.
Thank you so much for guiding me. Now I realize that part of my problem last time was because I wasn't seeing her.
Yeah.
So this time I had to stay behind to be
So
watching.
watch. Let's celebrate Jeff this morning. Fantastic one, Jeff.
All right, it's been a great show. Thank you so much, beautiful sir. Amazing. She's going to be our regular, of course. Whenever we want to call on fitness, she's going to be here to ensure she guides us. We want to thank you so much for coming on the program. And guys, what a journey.
We gotta run,
Yeah.
but
We gotta
not
run.
forgetting our support for the Super Eagles. Let's do this again.
Let's do this
All
again.
the support for you on Sunday
Yes, sir.
and your opening match. That's a wrap. I'm
Yeah.
Kayode Okikelu.
And ensure that your support and conversation for the Super Eagles will be positive this morning, pumping them with energy and ensure ensuring that we do it again. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bukola Kota.
And of course, don't forget, Sunrise Daily is coming up just after now. We're still following up what's going on at the Supreme Court. But hey, the Super Eagles, we're ready for you. Let's go there and make it happen. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
So maybe that's how we'll sign off. I'm Jeffrey Zoma. Let's now go.
Go Super Eagles. Let's do it again.
1, 2, go. Go Super Eagles. Let's do it again.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.